Subaru sleeping with Carson. Safety disclosure is don't do anything that's dangerous. Don't do anything that I've done. Do everything that you want to do the way you want to do it, not the way I did it. Don't get in trouble. Be safe and wear safety protection.
There'll be several sections where I am talking and several sections where there is complete silence. Don't worry about adjusting your volume. I'll be back to talking shortly. I have a 2018 Premium Crosstrek. It has the option package 14, the power moonroof, eyesight, driver's assist system, and also the popular package number 3.
In this week's episode of Subaru Sleeping with Carson, I'm going to be making the longest platform possible in the Subaru, encompassing the space of the front passenger seat without removing it. It's going to be as long as I can possibly make it, and it's going to fit some storage containers, and it's going to be awesome. Let's go. Okay, the tools you'll need for this is a drill. I prefer, if you're going to have one saw, to have a saber saw, or otherwise known as a jigsaw. You'll need a tape measure, a Sharpie, a pair of scissors. I would get some extra blades for the saber saw. You need a level. I show here a stapler and some staples, but I didn't end up using either of them, so you can scratch those. I have 2 power cords, but depending on how close you are to an outlet, you could get away with just 1 power cord. You can use a battery-powered drill if you'd like. I used one at the very end, but I am using this corded Ryobi. I like Ryobi a lot, but you're welcome to use any brand that you enjoy. All right, here we go. You will also need some sort of elevated table or a very strong, sturdy box. I'm using this old recycling container, which I've cut into multiple times by using the saw. But I would suggest some sort of workbench or sawhorses or something like that. But if you don't have it, you can improvise. Just be safe. All right, this says $83.27. However, I will be returning the staples because I didn't use those, and I'll also be returning 2 2x4s that I did not use. So I think the grand total for supplies alone is going to come in right around $75, which isn't bad at all. You'll need to lay back the front passenger seat, push it all the way forward, take off the headrest, lay down the seat right behind it, take its headrest off, and then you kind of push the 2 together. You'll hear a click. You don't have to force it. Take off the cargo cover or the net if you use it, and then lay down the other seat for ample storage space of all the lumber. I would secure the seatbelt over there and make sure to tuck it underneath the seat, which I forgot to do this time. When loading the car, I would put the RV carpet that I purchased up front as kind of a cushion. And also be careful of the gear shifter. I scratched it a bit. I wasn't paying attention. If you just put some sort of cloth over it, you'll be fine. If you're not going to use the RV carpet, I would just get some sort of other cushion and put it up front. I was really happy that all the wood fit in the Subaru Crosstrek. I actually got a full sheet of, it's a 4x8 sheet of plywood. It's 3/4 of an inch thick. I got it cut 26 inches wide, and then the remainder. I also have 3 2x4s by 8 feet long, and then I also have a 2x6 by 10 feet long cut in half. And I also bought a 1/4 inch 2x2 square plywood, because there always seems to be some little, when I'm leveling the platform, some little bit that I need extra. All right, this is the Generation 1 solo platform that I made that I'm loading up to see kind of how it sizes up to the new one, which will be a solid plank, which is awesome. When I had originally made it, I made it just to encompass my length of 6'3", a little bit of a pillow, not this pillow that I'm using now, and that was it. But what I ran into is the pillow just didn't fit the one I use, and I wanted to make it a bit longer. Plus, the length that I had made it did not fit these under bed storage containers that could fit underneath it, so I made it a little longer and a little taller to fit those as well. When I'm done sawing, I usually take the piece of wood I just sawed and I kind of rub it along the edge of the sawed off section. There's always these little burrs and little, pieces of wood that always seem to stick in my hands like splinters later, so I just try to kind of, take off all the rough edges before I get going. Now I'm going to use the old platform to retrace where the wheel well is cut out, and extend it a little longer and put it in the car and figure out what the next step is. When making any of these cuts, don't worry about if they're not exactly straight. I don't think any of my cuts are exactly straight. I'm going to be covering them with carpet anyway, but again, don't worry about it. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just enjoy, make it how you want it, and take it easy. I noticed that under the platform by the front passenger seat, there was a small ledge where the platform rested on the secondary brace. And I thought I would make a small little section for 3 bottles of water there. It seems silly, but also the track or channel for the bottles of water will act as a stop for the platform, the sleeping platform, when I'm set it on that little brace for it to nudge right up against it, and I know that's where I need to stop, and it's perfect and centered, and I can also hold 3 bottles of water. So the screws I'll be using to fasten the water bottle track to the brace are slightly too long, which has happened to me before on multiple other projects. And this is where a small bolt cutter is actually very handy to just trim the screw down to the length that you want. And I'll show you how I do that, and we'll go from there. Because the screw is being kind of nipped off on the end, the pointy side that would kind of get the screw going as far as gripping and whatnot is gone. So sometimes when you're using it, it can almost act just like a drill bit instead of a screw. So what I've done is I'll go and get some little starter holes going with an actual drill bit, and then go back with the custom screw that I've nipped off the end, and it works great. Now the platform has an exact place on where to stop, and it works like a champ. Now I'm just making a little notch for the kind of driver's area, cup holder access, center console area. Also want to give myself a little space, between myself while I'm driving and the platform. I think it turned out really well. I would recommend just doing right angle cuts instead of curve cuts, because it makes it a lot easier when wrapping it with carpet to just do it at a right angle instead of the curve. I'm doing a little measurement here in a minute for the brace in the very front, and then we're going to start putting together the legs and wrapping it with carpet. Hey, whether it's for a drill like this or like that plug-in one down there, I get a little package of these, well, it doesn't matter what brand, just a package of these, these drill bit heads, because when I'm drilling a lot, the tips tend to get kind of stripped down almost to a sharp point. You definitely need to wear gloves. I slipped and hit my finger yesterday, which I've totally done that in the past as well, and hence why I've been wearing gloves, but I guess laziness, I didn't put them on or something. But yeah, I would, as soon as you start seeing this stripping down, just toss it, just throw it away and get a new one. These are very inexpensive, so just and wear gloves, just in case. All right. All right, there's been a few little cuts and legs made that I didn't get to show, but it's all together now, other than being carpeted. So now I'm loading it up, and I'm going to put the sleeping pad on it and pillow, and see what it's like to get in and out of the car, and we'll go from there.
I'm really happy how this worked out. There's an exact amount of little space here for me to put my arm on the center console, which is great. I can put it all the way back or all the way forward. I can rest it on the platform if I wanted. There's perfect access underneath the platform. I can reach the cup holders really great. Everything really worked out awesomely. I'm very happy with it and how it is set up room-wise now.
There's also room behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and I like that because if I'm ever going to an area where there is a buddy or somebody I want to hang out with, they can obviously ride in my car, and I can still keep the platform in there, and everything's great. Getting in and out of the car is exactly what it looks like. It works. For a person that is 6'3", I'm very happy with it. If you're shorter, it'll be better. If you're taller, I'm sure it'll still work. You could make the plank or the sleeping platform wider. However, when I'm in a sleeping bag, all my extremities are in the sleeping bag as well, so you're really confined to the sleeping bag space. Again, if you want to stretch out or move around, you can make this sleeping platform wider. I just made it about 26 inches wide, but you're welcome to make it wider if you would like. And that's it. I'm about to show spaces where everything fits. There's actually a lot of space left to do a lot of additional things as well. The cargo containers I have fit great, and there's a little space over here for my camping chair, and then in the front of the platform there's a place for this little shade shack and a picnic blanket, which is awesome. As far as carpet, I use an RV carpet. It seems to be durable. It's very inexpensive. You can find it at Home Depot. And as far as wrapping the platform, you just wrap it, screw it down, and keep going. Don't worry about what it looks like. You're just sleeping on it. And especially if you're folding it out up underneath the platform, no one will ever see it. As far as loading it in the car, it is a little awkward, but you can manage. You can get it about halfway in and then walk it in the rest of the way. And you just have to move this little seatbelt section out of the way and nudge it over. And it's good. If you had two people, it'd be even easier. With the footing at the very front of the sleeping platform on carpet, it was slipping. So I needed a solution. So I pulled it out, measured the end, and I just happened to have some industrial strength Velcro. So I got a little piece, stuck it on there, got some screws, I fixed it, and it worked really well. And now it's very solid and planted in the front as it Velcros either to the carpet or the floorboard carpet. I always struggle with making the platforms level. I try and readjust and re-add things, but it always seems to be unlevel. But this one seems to be pretty good. I did put a level on it at the very end after doing it multiple times, and it seems good enough to me. In the end, I'm very happy with the results. There's lots of cargo space, lots of nooks and crannies and crevices and places for me to put everything I want to. Tons of space for me to stretch out on. There is 87 inches to be exact. I can stretch out as much as I want. I can do everything I want to do with it, and the platform is up and ready to go, and I don't have to mess with my driver's seat. It's a perfect solo camping setup in my Subaru Crosstrek.